1/3 of programmers using marijuana while working with many touting creative benefits. Study finds. This is a story from the marijuana moment, okay? Researchers at University of Michigan said that the anecdotal evidence suggested that those in programming were more likely to use cannabis on the job, so they set out to conduct a first large-scale survey on the topic. This prohibition of cannabis use in software engineering has contributed to a widely reported hiring shortage for certain U.S. government programming jobs. The study finds 53% said they've consumed cannabis while working and programming at least 12 times. 27% said they use it at least twice a week, and 4% said they use it while working on a daily basis. Okay, good thing, bad thing, funny story, who cares? Where are you at with this?
I'll tell you where I'm at with this. And speaking from experience, from creative benefits, when I was in my stand-up comedy days, I did three things all day, every day. I would smoke weed, and when I was living in Denver, I would write jokes. Half of them were absolutely ridiculous. Half of them I used on stage. I would then go play basketball in the afternoon in the Mile High City, literally, and then I would go do stand-up at night. And it really does help your creative juices flow. The problem with that is, though, you know, you smoke your weed, and then like 3 hours later, you're like, it's time for a nap. It's like, dude, it's noon. What are you doing? So there are creative benefits for it. But the downside is you lose energy, you lose stamina, you lose your ability to like keep going and keep pushing
let's ask
forward.
Somebody that maybe has experience. David, what do you think about
Pat, no joke. I have a friend. His name is Shmavid, and
he just threw him under the bus. Shmavid, how you doing, buddy?
Shmavid rhymes with David.
And I was doing sound design for this film, and I mean, he was doing sound design for this film, and he got really high, and he thought it was dope, and then he sent it, and the guy was like, "Hey, buddy. Was this like a first draft or something? This sounds like dog shit." It was terrible. So it does make you creative,
set up every day.
but programming, I don't think you would do that well.
By the way, we'd love to meet Shmavid one of these days.
Yeah, he's super busy though. He's a lot of modeling gigs.
Am I the only one that thought 1/3 was like low?
Yeah.
I think it's like way more.
Well, what percentage of Americans do you think have smoked weed?
Oh, a lot. Dude, I'm actually probably only one of my friends that doesn't like weed. Like, I've never in my, I swear to God.
But you do like the munchies.
That's the whole thing. I've never needed any ambition to be lazy and hungry in my life. I've got lazy and hungry covered.
Pat, have you ever smoked weed?
I don't need any help. Yeah.
And what did it do for you? Because you're the type of person that does not need cocaine.
Pat, I was Shmavid.
You're going Thanks, Dave. We got that part, buddy.
I can promise you, there's nothing about cocaine that does me good. Because if you cut my blood, there's probably some cocaine in there. Because natural Assyrian sugar that's going to be in there. No, you know, weed was never smoked in high school, never smoked in the military. I got out. I was dating this girl. She was my boss. And one night we smoked weed, and I finished 3 bowls of berries. Literally, I finished 3 bowls of berries that night at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's the only story I remember. And it's probably very good for a guy like me. You guys would benefit from me smoking weed, even though I don't smoke weed.
I think at the end of the day, if you smoke, it's just, hey, man.
Is it even still a big deal anymore? Like, if you found out somebody's smoking weed, nobody cares.
I think they came out, they said a large percentage, I don't want to say a large percentage, a lot of companies have done away with drug tests.
They should.
They're just like, come to work, we need you. BizDoc, for someone that smokes weed every day, what do you think of this story?
Excuse me? Well, first of all, David, thank you for not saying your friend's last name. No one will figure out who this guy is.
Shmavid Ada.
Yeah,
Shmavid Shmara, yeah.
He's the only guy in South Florida with the name. But no, I think you look at it, you look at who's in the dispensaries, you look at the people that are going into, and you're finding people, you have to remember, the people that were high at Woodstock, what are they now? That's 1969. And
they're in charge of our government.
They're the baby boomers. Yes.
They're 80 years old. They're 75 to 82 years
they're the
old.
boomers.
And so you've got people all the way up to that age remembering this. And I've always felt that if you're going to legalize this, we need to regulate it. Paraquat hurt a lot of people. It was a pesticide that was in it. If you're going to legalize it, then let's make it like any food product or ingesting product. Let's put some standards on it. But let's also figure out a way to make sure if you're driving completely stoned and putting people at risk, we can test for that. And so I have always felt if we're going to legalize it, let's legalize it the whole way, and let's also protect ourselves and people.
How do you test for driving stoned?
Well, there's already, driving impaired is already a law. So, that is a law. But
so it is a law, but reliable tests for
Sure. But even right now, where it's decriminalized in California, there's still a black market because the taxes are so high. They're asking for the taxes to come down in California because the drug dealers are still selling dime bags for for $10. So it's
I'll tell you a quick story.
Allegedly.
I'll tell you a quick story about driving stoned, and this is what I realized. Dude, don't be smoking and driving over here. I went.
First of all, you shouldn't be driving, period. Forget
Yeah, I
stoned.
agree. I agree. I should not be driving. That's why I don't drive. I haven't had a car in 10 years. I was 22 years
You
old.
should get in the carrier thing and let the cat drive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was 22 years old, and I remember I did not smoke all throughout high school and in college, and I was like, I'm a drug-free, I'm an athlete, and then I was playing college football, and all my teammates were getting stoned and doing all sorts of nonsense. But this one day, I went to get in my car. I had to go run some errands, and I get in my car, and I go to put the key in the ignition, and I'm sitting in shotgun. I'm sitting in the passenger
There it
seat
is.
in my car.
So there, you just brought up a great
High
point. Though.
shit.
So when I was an athlete,
Don't be driving. Hi.
Folks, he's just trying to make this up. This happens every week. Okay? This is not 20 years ago. This was last week.
But what's
Maybe.
crazy is I think we all agree as far as
gonna be all right, bro.
Thank you.
drugs are concerned, it's pretty obvious at this point that weed's pretty low on the list of things that could really.
But they call it, what is it, a grade A? What do they call it?
Sure, whatever. The DEA, whatever they can do to keep themselves in business. But the issue becomes, you talked about school. Weed stayed in your system for testing for 30 plus days.
Right.
There wasn't like a single athlete I knew that smoked weed. But instead, we would do all the harder shit, the stuff that's way worse for you because it was out of your
It'd be
system
out
in
of
2 days.
24 hours, yeah.
So it was like, and dude, especially if you got injured. If you got injured or you were dealing with soreness or something like that, instead of smoking weed, you would take oxys and you would
Yes.
take like pills that are hardcore that have long-term
You've talked about
effects.
this before. I think we can all agree that on the level of things that people use, weed is way better for you than alcohol or pills. Is it
Yeah,
not?
But it comes out of the ground. It doesn't come out of a lab. So I mean, there's profit incentive for them to get kids hooked on pills that need prescriptions.
There's
man.
still profit incentive in the greens, though, isn't there?
Well,
Tax that weed.
depends on who's in there. But yeah, I mean, listen, what I think is interesting, man, is like I told this to Pat. I'm not going to say the guy's name, David, but I know a guy who's
Schmerard?
incredibly good, like $1,200 to $1,600 a day editor for a major network, and he microdoses LSD the whole day.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is common.
I
People
don't
do
think
this.
is it common?
Microdosing?
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.